All right. Good evening, Eric, and everyone who's here. Warm welcome. I think it's good evening, good morning, and good afternoon, if I'm right. You know, we're coming from different time zones. So we're coming to you with this workshop that is called Finding Your Spirit Animal Through Sacred Indian Folklore and Sacred Text and Literature. So I'd like to start by thanking Eric because Eric has been a mentor in storytelling for me and Gayatri. We're very grateful to him for this opportunity. And to start the workshop, I'd like to quote the Bhagavad Gita, one of our ancient traditional sacred texts in India. To be kind to animals and not to harm an animal, that is the only truth. All else is ignorance. And taking off from here, I'd like to introduce my very esoteric friend, Gayatri. Gayatri has a very soft spot for iguanas, and she is fascinated by the octopus. She is what you call a person who believes that we as humans can learn from every being and creature on earth. And if I use metaphors from the English language, I would say Gayatri is, how do I describe you, Gayatri? Okay, you are a prolific workhorse because you're always doing something. And what else can I call you? And you're busy as a beaver most of the times. And you have quite the eagle eye, Gayatri, because you can find things and notice things that other people can't. So that's what I think about my friend and colleague, Gayatri. Gayatri, you're muted.
Yeah, Gayatri, you've got to turn on your microphone.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Rachna. My friend Rachna, she's a lover of all animals, especially the dogs and the birds. She's a busy bee. She comes from the western part of India, where it's raining cats and dogs. Her heart is owned by the mythical phoenix. And then she's an animal welfare activist and a volunteer.
Thank you for the lovely introduction, Gayatri. And now I'd like all of you to just bring yourself into this moment. Gayatri is going to guide us into a beautiful experiential visualization. She is going to take us on a magical ride to a mystical and a divine forest. So the easiest and the best thing for us at this moment is to just go with her words and her flow. Over to you, Gayatri.
Yeah, thank you, Rachna. So, are you all ready to take this mental journey to a divine forest? Please sit comfortably. Take a few deep breaths. Now visualize yourself walking through a garden filled with fragrant flowers. Take a deep breath and enjoy the fragrance. As you walk, you see trees laden with fruits. There are few swans swimming in the pond. And in the center of this garden is a magic carpet. You go and sit on the carpet. The carpet is beginning to fly. You enjoy the gentle breeze touching you, the warm rays of the sun. Now the carpet lands outside the divine forest. There is a small board outside this forest. Written on it are these words: we will give you love and happiness, and please give us the say. As you enter the forest, you can see a parade of elephants walking towards you with flowers in their hands. They offer you the flowers as if to welcome you. As you move along, you see a pride of lions. They roar as if to acknowledge you. You move along, and at the tree nearby, there's a troop of monkeys. A monkey slowly climbs down and gives you a warm hug. You can see a streak of tigers. They turn and look at you with twinkling eyes. Soon you come across a launch of colorful iguanas. They are launching in the sun. They move towards you as if to acknowledge your presence. In the lake nearby, you can see the flamboyance of flamingos. They flap their wings to express their love. There's a bloat of hippos. They move towards the bank to meet you. Soon, you meet a zeal of zebras standing near the grass. You go close to them, touch them, and pat them. They seem to enjoy your touch. Close by are standing a herd of deers, their coats shining. They turn and look at you. You go close to them, touch them, and offer them a fruit. At a distance, you can see a mob of kangaroo jumping in the sunlight. Now you see a place where you can relax. There is a swing. You sit on the swing. You are now surrounded by cuckoos and peacocks. The cuckoos begin to sing, and the peacocks are dancing. You are beginning to enjoy the peace, both inside and outside. Everything seems to be in harmony. You take a deep breath. The air is fresh and fragrant. The water is clean and clear. All the animals are friendly. Now you slowly walk back to the entrance and sit on your carpet. With a rich experience, you fly back to your garden. You get down slowly and walk back to your room. When you are ready, you can open your eyes.
Thank you so much, Gayatri. It was very relaxing, and thank you for guiding us through this beautiful forest. It's not something that we city dwellers see very often. So thank you for this wonderful break. And now let me take you all on another ride to a time that stood a very long, long ago. Uh, the time I'm talking about had a different rhythm. Human beings and animals were part of a complex web that existed together. They were interacting with each other. They were interrelationships, not only between humans, but other elements of the natural world and animals. And these interactions and associations were built on the basis of sympathy, built on the basis of connection and understanding. We treated animals as our fellow beings, especially so in the cultural context of India, where our religious texts And scriptures, right from the Bhagavad Gita to the Padma Puran to stories in the Mahabharata and in the Ramayana, all of them speak of treating animals with respect and with equality. So when this happened, the world was a very different place. We in India also gave animals characteristics just like we gave each other. So you have animals who had characteristics and qualities of being evil and wicked, and you had other animals who had characteristics of being kind and generous and amiable, just like we have in human beings. Now, these animals were very much a part of not only our life on land, but also in the celestial world up in the heavens with the gods. In the Hindu pantheon, in the Hindu scriptures, all gods, in fact, most of them, I haven't done the percentage out here, but most of them have a companion animal who is their vehicle, or as in Sanskrit, we call it the Vahana. If you remember about 3,000 and 5,000 and how many millennial years ago, there was no car, there was no helicopter or a motorcycle. So the poor gods needed some way to move around. So these animals were their vehicles. Now, Lord Ganesha, the very amiable, affable god, had a little mouse. I mean, he's a big god and he has a small mouse, but they managed it very well. Then we have Lord Shiva, the destroyer, the magnificent Lord Shiva. He had Nandi the bull, a big, magnificent bull. We have Lord Vishnu, the creator, the keeper, and he had a beautiful eagle who could take him and fly with him everywhere. And then we have the very angry and the very esoteric goddess Durga with a spear in her hand and sitting on a lion, the most magnificent lion that you'd ever seen. These animals and birds were not just their vehicles, they were their companions and they were part of the divine consciousness. When you talk about Shiva, you mention Nandi. When you talk about Ganesha, you mention his mouse. And when you talk about Durga, she's incomplete without her lion. So if you see, there was this deep rooted, deep symbiotic relationship where one didn't really exist without the other. And animals were so intrinsic to our life and in our life that when the gods wanted to do their godly duties and they couldn't do it in the form that they were in, that beautiful, majestic form that they held each time, they changed into animals. The forms of Shiva, the majestic forms of animal avatars of Vishnu, and we have so many gods, the smaller gods, if you say, in the Hindu pantheon, that changed into animals or had parts of animals in them. Like, if you look, for example, if you go into the sun signs in India, the nakshatras, all of them, and even in the Western philosophy, there's an animal that represents each sun sign. So this is the depth of the interrelationship that was there in our culture. In fact, here I would like to narrate a small anecdotal story from the Mahabharata. When the 5 Pandava brothers started making their way to heaven after the end of the war and after everything was settled, they had a dog who accompanied them. One by one, Draupadi, the wife of the 5 Pandavas, and the 4 Pandava brothers, the younger 4 Pandava brothers, perished due to various ailments and illnesses. Now, Yudhishthira, the eldest Pandava, was only left with the faithful dog who walked with him each step of the way to the gates of the heaven. And when Yudhishthira reached the gates of the heaven, he found Lord Indra, the master and lord of heaven, waiting for him. He said, "Come, join me. Why do you need to walk? Step into my chariot and I'll take you away." So Yudhishthira was all ready to get into the chariot and he called the dog. And there Indra shook his head and said, "No dogs allowed, not even the small one." Yudhishthira didn't blink an eye. He was very clear. If his dog couldn't come with him, the faithful companion who was with him every step of the way in that arduous journey, he wouldn't join Indra on his way to heaven. He turned his back in heaven and was just about to walk away without, without any negativity or without feeling bad, because his dog needed to be with him, when the dog transformed into Lord Dharma. So here, this is another example uh, how beings and our heroes from that era, from ancient times, were so interconnected with animals. Yudhishthira didn't mind giving up heaven for a dog. I mean, I don't think most of us would want to do that nowadays. But here, the high and mighty king of such a huge kingdom, Hastinapur, was leaving heaven to be with his companion dog. Ancient Indian culture is full of these examples. And another example that comes into my mind is this book, which was written 2,500 years ago by sage Patanjali, the Yoga Sutra. I mean, everyone knows about yoga, but do we know that the book was written 2,500 years ago? And in this book, too, sage Patanjali has brought about the forms of animals beautifully. If you look at the poses, the asanas, you have the snake pose, you have the peacock, you have the lion, you have the pigeon, you have the alligator or the crocodile, and you have the tiny little cat. So these are all poses that we do in yoga every day in the classes we pay so much for. And where has the inspiration come from in ancient India? From all the animals around us. And these are just a few of the poses. But since I can't demonstrate to you how it works, I'd like you to watch this little clipping for a minute that my friend Gayatri is going to show to you to kind of get home the message that I'm trying to make. Gayatri, can we see the film?
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Gayatri. And for all of us who thank our yoga teachers and maybe Patanjali sometimes, let's also thank the animals who have inspired us to take up all these forms. What do you say, Gayatri?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Rachna. I'm really fascinated by this Patanjali's Yoga Shastra, especially the 8 steps to Raj Yoga. What happens when you practice this yogasanas on a daily basis? It makes your body really flexible. It gives you strength and balance. At this juncture, I'm reminded of the Panchatantra. Pancha means 5 and Tantra means strategies. These tales are believed to be as old as Rigveda. It is believed that the stories were related by Pandit Vishnu Sharma to impart taught wisdom to three young princes. These are collections of interconnected stories using animal metaphors and represent human vices and virtues. If you use the five strategies, you can overcome any problem in life. And for children, it helps them to understand how to choose reliable and trustworthy friends. It also relates how you could live in peace and harmony, even in the midst of deceit and hypocrisy. So, over to a story from the Panchatantra. I'm really sorry, Rachna. Only your images see. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now let's go to the story from the Panchatantra. So you can see in my background there are two jackals. They are called Dama and Kama. Both Dama and Kama were walking on a very sunny summer day. They were tired and exhausted. They sat under a big banyan tree. Now Dama said, "Do you know, seeing this big banyan tree, I am reminded of the story of a foolish crane and the mongoose." Now Kama was interested. "Oh friend, please share with me the story. I am interested." So Dama continued. Long ago, on the big banyan tree, there was a crane. Her young had recently hatched. And when they wanted to call their mother, they said, "Kiki, kiki, kiki." But when they were hungry, they shouted, "Kee, kee, kee." That was a loud noise. The mother every day stretched her wings and flew down to the nearby lake. She stood with her head down, watching. And when the crabs came out, she immediately caught them and took them back to her little ones. And some days she didn't get her food, so she would go to the nearby fields, dig the land, pick up some worms or even some tubers. This went on for some time. Then one day, a black snake, a big black cobra, a very hungry one, moved close to the tree. It was tired and hungry, and then it put its head down, and suddenly there was the sound of the little birds. Kee, kee, kee. Now the snake got interested. Slowly it moved up the tree and it stretched itself and caught the little one. After swallowing the little one, it slowly moved down to the hollow in the tree where it rested. The mother crane came in the evening and she realized her little one was missing. She looked here and there. Had the little one fallen? She searched the grounds, but the little one was not to be seen. Then she realized that there was a big black snake in the hollow of the tree. The next day, grief stricken, she went to the lake. She was in no mood to hunt. She stood there with her head down. and thinking, oh, what am I going to do? How am I going to protect my little ones? A little crab peeped out and saw the crane. The crab shouted, oh, my friend, I think you are in sorrow. Please tell me your problem. I will try to help you. So the crane told the crab about the snake which was living in the hollow of the tree. The crab thought now, oh, we are born enemies. You have killed my little ones mercilessly. I will mislead you. I will give you suicidal ideas. I will totally make you perish. But very calmly the crab replied, my friend, I have an idea. All you have to do is just one thing. Near your tree is a burrow where the mongoose lives. All you have to do is go near the burrow and drop a piece of meat. Create a trail till the hollow of the snake. The mongoose will take care. So the crane thought, oh, this is a good idea. She dropped pieces of meat from the burrow of the mongoose till the hollow of the snake. The next day, the mongoose followed the trail, and then there was a big fight between the mongoose and the snake. And in the end, the snake was killed. Does the story end here? No, because now the mongoose was hungry. It sat down and then it heard the sound of the little birds. It slowly climbed the tree, caught the little ones, and swallowed them up. Now, Dama waited for some time. Kama said, oh, the crane is really foolish. I am reminded of a similar story which happened in the nearby village. In the nearby village lived a young merchant. His name was Jiva. He was having a prosperous business. He was good with his customers, and every day his fingers ached counting the coins. But something changed. Soon he lost everything and became penniless. He sat down, filled with grief, thinking, what am I going to do? I have nothing in hand. And then his eyes rested on the weighing balance his ancestors had given him. It was 1,000-pound balance. The next day, Jiva took the balance to the pawnbroker. The pawnbroker looked at the balance. He knew it was a valuable. Jiva said, friend, give me some money. I will return the money along with the interest in the stipulated time. The pawnbroker thought, ha, this man is not going to return the money. This balance is going to be mine. He smiled wickedly. Then he asked Jiva, how much money do you want? And then gave him the money. Time passed by. Jiva went abroad, earned a lot of money, and came back. He went to the pawnbroker and said, sir, can you return my balance? Here's the money. The pawnbroker was surprised. He said, oh, how miserable, my friend. I wanted to return the balance. But you know, when you left this place, a swarm of rats attacked my house. They nibbled at your balance and soon finished it off. Now Jiva was getting irritated. He was angry. He knew that the pawnbroker was telling a lie, but outside he remained calm. I know, I can understand. It's all my ill luck. I'm really tired now. Can you do me a small help? I want to go to the nearby river. Can you send your son with me to show me the way? The pawnbroker thought, ha, I'm so happy that I was able to convince him. He called, Beta, come here, come here, come here. Go with uncle and show him the river. So they both left. A few hours passed, and then Jiva returned alone. The pawnbroker asked him, where's my son? Has he gone home? Now it was Jiva's turn. He said, oh, I'm sorry, how miserable. I and your son were walking along when a big black bird flew. It just caught your son and took him away. I tried to stop him, but I couldn't. Now the pawnbroker knew that she was telling a lie. He shouted at him. He tried to beat him. Now their case was put in front of the king. The king heard the pawnbroker and turned to Jiva. He ordered, send him back his son. I know you are lying. Now it was Jiva's turn. Jiva said how he had given his balance. And now the king angrily turned to the pawnbroker and asked him to return the balance to Jiva. Thus ends the story of the foolish crane and the mongoose. There are four lines at the end of the story, which is the taking from the story. It says, the fools hate the learned, the poor blame the rich, the miser riles the giver, and the wicked abhor the virtuous. Thank you.
Thank you, Gayatri. It was a lovely story and great telling, very enjoyable. Thank you so much. Here, I want to bring a point that the reason that we're doing this workshop is because Gayatri and I feel a deep resonance with animals. We are pet parents and we do work with animals in our spaces. And the fact is that after getting into storytelling and reading literature from our own country, folklore, fables, as well as mythological stories, we felt even a deeper connect with these sentient beings. And with this connect, we felt the need to find someone somewhere inside us, and that is our spirit animal, the something that we have lost being because we are living in these modern times, someone who was there within us centuries and millenniums ago. So we wanted to find that being inside us, and hence we started this quest for finding our own personal spirit animals. And for me, getting into yoga recently was a journey and a revelation. I found my spirit animal on that journey. And I believe that wherever we are in life, whatever age, whatever time, whatever occupation, whatever we are doing, it's this vision. If we keep this vision of finding our spirit animal within us, we eventually will. And when we find the spirit animal, at least for me, it was like finding a piece of my soul, which was missing. And I feel more complete after, finding my inherent spirit animal.
Yeah, thank you, Rachna. So, the end of the story, we just want to find out, did you resonate with any character in the story? I just want you to type in your answer. Did any of the animal characters attract you? Or in the second story, did you get attracted to any personality? You can type in your answers in the chat box.
Oh. Oh. Um, it seems everyone has a soft corner for the little bird. Gayatri.
Yes.
We all love a good tragedy, don't we, at the end of the day? I think we've had enough of sadness in this story. So is it time to do something a little more exciting? And Gayatri, can we have a quiz, please?
Yes, yes.
So we have prepared a very simple but hopefully interesting quiz for all of you. It's on animals from Indian mythology. And it is actually very easy and simple according to us, because these are pretty well-known animals and avatars of gods. So we are hoping that you'll be able to answer. You could type in the answers in the chat box, and we will really reveal the correct animal to you once you all have done that.
Yeah, can you see it, Rachna?
Yeah, it's visible. Let's start, Gayatri. So, who has a human body and bull head and called the gatekeeper of Kailash? Kailash is the place where Lord Shiva stays. To make it a little more easy for everyone, Kailash is the abode of Lord Shiva. Oh, I think no one is getting this one, Gayatri. We don't seem to have any answers. Can we show them the answer, please? It's Nandi the bull I spoke about. The big black bull, Nandi. Can we go to the next one, Gayatri? Who has a human body and a bird head, is called the king of all birds, golden in color, and is Lord Vishnu's messenger or vehicle?
Not familiar with.
Yeah, these are from Indian mythology. So, and they are rather simple. And yes, we've got one right answer. We've got two right answers. Gayatri, we've got Garuda. Yes, Gayatri, can we show the face of Garuda? So this is the vehicle of Garuda, as I spoke so in my talk earlier. He's got wings and the face of a bird, and he's magnificent and golden in color. Can we go to the next one, Gayatri? Who has a human body and head of a monkey and is also called the monkey god?
I know that one.
Yes, it is also there in Tibetan Buddhism. Yes, he's also there. Some of the gods actually are common in both Hinduism and Tibetan Buddhism. I agree with that statement. Gayatri, we've got the correct answer. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, that's Hanuman, the monkey god, who's venerated all over India and in Tibet also in a different name. Can we go to the next one, Gayatri? Who has the human body and head of an elephant and called the elephant god? Yes, yes, yes. It is Ganesha. Absolutely right. It is Ganesha. And there he is, the harbinger of good luck. No ceremony starts without him in India. Next one, Gayatri. Who has the head of a woman, body of a cow, and is called the miraculous divine cow? That's a little tough one, I'm assuming, for some people. Oh, we have an answer. Okay. Guys, can we show them the answer? This seems to be a tough one. This is Kamadhenu. Can you see the picture? The face of a gorgeous woman and the body of a cow. The next one, Gayatri. What is the avatar of Vishnu having a human body and head of a horse called? There are 4 avatars of Vishnu when in an animal form. He takes the form of a boar, he takes the form of a fish, he takes a form of a tortoise, and this is one more form of his, and there's one more after that. Oh yeah, we've got, okay. Gayatri will have to show them the answer.
Yeah, one second.
Hayagriva, the head of a horse and the body is his. And the last one, which is according to me a little more well known, it is also an avatar of Vishnu. What is the name of the avatar of Vishnu having the head of a lion and a human body? Yes, Gayatri, we have the answer. And can we show the photo? It's Lord Narsimha, the one who vanquished Hiranyakashipu and saved Prahlad. He's quite scary, but he's also very generous. Here he is, Lord Narsimha. Thank you so much. And we promise you next time we'll do a simpler quiz. Thank you for the slides, Gayatri.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Rachna. We thought it would be a simple quiz, but I think it turned out to be a tough one. We listened to the story from the Panchatantra. Now I'm going to tell you about the Panchabhuta, or the 5 elements. According to Hinduism, the Panchabhuta, or the 5 elements, is the basis of all cosmic creation. Our body is made up of 5 elements. The senses are ruled by the 5 elements. Interestingly, each of this element is associated with an animal form. You have the fire element Agni, which rides the mountain goat. The air element is associated with the deer. And the water element you can see in my backdrop rides the makara. The makara is a sea monster which has a jaw like a crocodile, body of a fish, legs of a lion, and the tail of a peacock. Not only the elements, even the planets, you can see in my backdrop, is associated with animals. The sun god majestically rides a chariot of the 7 horses. The planet Saturn rides a crow, while Mercury, the lord of knowledge, is seated on a lion. Now this makes me thinking, if I had a Vagana or an animal to ride on, which animal would I choose? I definitely would choose the iguana in combination with the elephant. And I want to share with you a small video clipping which makes me choose the iguana. Please wait with me for a few seconds as I upload the video. Can you all see my video?
Yes.
A snake's eyes aren't very good, but they can detect movement. So if the hatchling keeps its nerve, it may just avoid detection. A near miraculous escape.
So I do have few iguana friends in the local zoo whom I visit on a regular basis. So if I had a vehicle, I would definitely choose the iguana.
A Sally Lightfoot crab. One of thousands of shore crabs just waiting for their moment. Every day they gather on the tropical shores of Brazil,
Gayatri, your video is on.
waiting for the tide to go out.
So I think we are now ready to get into a breakout room where we can draw our spirit animal. And like I said, I found mine and Gayatri has found hers, a combination of iguana and elephant, if I'm not wrong. So we request you to get your pen, pencils, color pencils, imagination, your hearts all in order and get ready to sketch, doodle, draw, your spirit animal, and you can discuss it in the breakout room with your co-participants, with your roommates, and then we'll come back into the main room in about 8 minutes or so. Eric, can we do a breakout room, please?
Well, one option would be to let people draw before they go into breakout rooms to decide upon their animal, and then let them go once they've made a decision, or do you want to let them go?
Okay, that works, Eric, that works, that's fine, it's all right.
Okay, so just take a few minutes to draw and see what animal comes to mind, and then we'll send people in pairs.
Pairs or fours, whatever works, whatever is easier. And I mean, the animal could be a single animal or an amalgamation of many. Go with what calls out to you.
David is asking that the instruction be repeated.
Okay, so David, what I am saying that we're giving you a timeout to make your spirit animal, your inner spirit animal. You please use a piece of paper or a notebook, a pencil, colors, whatever you deem fit. You know, your animal could be a single animal, a combination of two, an amalgamation of 6 with various body parts joined. I mean, whatever resonates with you. So that's basically the exercise that we have on hand right now. Drawing, doodling, doing a stick, making a stick figure of our spirit animal. It could be something as simple as a stick figure. It doesn't have to be detailed, but it should call to you and you should get what you're drawing, basically. I actually, if you can see my background, can you see the background? It's coming from a tribe in my state called Varli. Can you see that? Those little doodling kind of stick figures. So I'll actually bend out so you can see it better. So I'll just narrate a quick story from my state, which is Maharashtra. And I live in Mumbai, Bombay, and the Varli tribals actually live about a couple of hours away from my home. So, this is a story that comes to, it's actually an oral story, but a professor at one of the colleges in Bombay who heads a school of rural development has taken pains to narrate it and write it down for us. So thank you, Professor Pradeep Prabhu, who's done this. Otherwise, I wouldn't have learned of the story and neither will you. So the story is called The Mouse's Share. And this has happened more than 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years ago. Varlis have been here for the longest time, even before we have settled in Bombay. So the story comes from about 3,000 to 4,000 years ago. We're not really sure because it's oral and we don't really know how old the story is. So, like I say, a long time ago, there was this young, newly married couple in this Varli community, which is actually a tribal community, and they live in small hamlets. So in those times, they lived really near an in forest. And this newly married couple was living away from the family. As most tribals in India, they're given their freedom and freedom of choice and partner, and they live away from families. So they were living together, and it was a new marriage. So they were really into each other. They didn't really have time for the world. They didn't have time to do their chores. They didn't think about their livelihood. They were busy with each other the whole day and night. They were a young married couple, so we need to give them that space. And they forgot about food and earning and livelihood and the mundane things that we need to stay alive in life. Soon summer was upon them, And the wife, who's a little wiser, she realized that rains are around the corner, half of summer is over, and we have very sharp summers in Maharashtra where I stay. The sun is blazing for months on. And she realized once summer ends, the rains will be around the corner and they're just not having enough food in their go downs, in their barns. So worried, she got out of that little romantic mood that she and her husband were, and she goaded him to get out of the house. And they both decided to clear a little patch of ground in the forest so that they could plant, seeds and have food to eat and barter in the future. They did a really good job. Both of them toiled away, clearing that little patch of land. And soon there was this beautiful little field right in the middle of the forest near their house where they were all ready to sow seeds. But they realized at that moment they didn't have any seeds. How do you grow a crop without a seed? So the wife, who was not so worried and a little more smart, asked the husband, go to the gods, go to our gods and ask them to give us some seeds, because it's their responsibility. They put us on earth, so they need to help us out. So the husband was pushed out by the wife of the house and the clearing and the forest. And with he's a little, a lackadaisical young man, still full of romance, not very keen on the nitty-gritty of life, but he loved his wife. So he agreed to, do her bidding and walk towards the pathway to gods. When he reached their door and knocked upon it, he asked the gods, my wife and I have made this clearing in the forest. We really toiled hard. So please, can you give us some seeds? The gods looked at him as if he was some, strange guy coming up to their door. He said, we live up in the sky. We have nothing to do with seeds and the ground. We are apologetic. We apologize to you. We should help you. But unfortunately, we are not in a position to do so. I think it's better that you find your seeds on earth. So the young man was a little disappointed. You do expect your gods to fulfill all your wishes, and that didn't happen. But nevertheless, he took the god's advice and stepped back onto earth and walked into his forest back again. And as he was walking on the way, he noticed this wizened old monitor lizard resting on the rocks. He thought, this guy is old, he looks wise. Let me ask him. So he went to him and stood respectfully and said, Dada. Now, Dada in Marathi, the language the tribals speak here, is elder brother, and it's a respectful form of addressing someone. So he said, Dada, my wife and I made this clearing in the forest. We want to plant seeds so that we'll have crops. Can you give me some seeds? He was very polite. And the lizard looked up at him, his brows getting even more furrowed because he was thinking hard. Then he said, look, my son, I don't really have seeds. I live on the rocks. What are seeds to me? But maybe you can try with the crab who lives close by. He lives both on land and in water. He would be capable of helping you. So the young man was a tad bit disappointed because, this wise old lizard wasn't able to help him. So he set on his way to the crab. Now the crab was enjoying the cool breeze and the cool water. He was floating in the water without a care in the world. It was almost like he was enjoying a jacuzzi. The young man went close to him and the crab opened one eye greedily to look at him. Yes, what can I do for you? The young man again started with his story. My wife and I, we made this clearing in the forest. We need seeds to plant crops. Can you give us any? The crab looked at the young man and he said, my dear young fellow, I live in the water and in the sand. I have no need for seeds. Why don't you check with my friend, the boar, who lives close by? He seems to have a fascination for mud and all things muddy. He might be able to help you. The young man was dejected, but taking the advice of the crab, he thanked him and went on his way to meet the boar, who was found wallowing and frolicking in mud like boars usually are found. The boar was busy enjoying himself and grunting away when the young man called out, Excuse me, sir. The boar shook his head and some of the mud splashed on the young man's clean clothes. But the young man didn't care about it. He went to the boar and in his most respectful voice said, "Sir, can you give me some seeds? My wife and I have made a clearing in the forest. We are in need of some seeds to plant our crops." The boar was more than happy, generous guy this boar was. He said, "I have roots and tubers. You can take all of them, but I don't have any seeds." The young man was sad. And again, he didn't know what to do. Then the boar suggested, "Why don't you go to the king of the jungle, the forest? The king can help you. The king knows everything that needs to be known. I'm sure he'll have seeds to give you." The young man thanked the boar and he went to the king of the jungle. Now, here the king of the jungle is not the lion, but the tiger, because the Varli tribe worships the tiger. He's called Wagoba. Wag in Marathi means tiger. So when we talk about the king of the forest for Varlis, it's always the tiger. So the young man went to meet Wagoba, the tiger, the ruler of the forest. The tiger was taking a nap. He just had a wonderful meal. The young man stood respectfully away. I mean, who wants to go and stand near a tiger at the end of the day? "Oh, magnificent ruler, could you please help me? My wife and I have made a clearing in the forest. We need seeds to grow crops. Could you please give us some?" The tiger looked at the young man in amazement. "Seeds? I'm a hunter. What need do I have for seeds? I have no seeds to give you." The young man stood in front of the tiger, tongue-tied and despondent. The tiger took pity on him. "Why don't you go to the squirrel? I see her scurrying up and down with seeds to hide in her burrow. Go try out with her. She's very generous and kind. I'm sure she'll help you out." So the young man took the advice of the tiger and went to meet the squirrel. He took a little while in finding the squirrel because squirrels live up on trees and he had to figure out which tree exactly is this particular squirrel living on. He looked up and down and finally found her. And she was also a little pretty old lady. So very respectfully down on the ground, he called out to her, "Bai girl." Bai in Marathi means lady and girl is just added like a respectful pronoun to that. So "Bai girl." The squirrel came scurrying down. She was a sprightly little thing, just scurrying all over the place. And she said, "Yes, young man, how can I help you? My wife and I have made a clearing in the forest. We are looking for seeds to plant to grow our own crops. Could you give me some seeds?" he asked her pleadingly. She said, "Of course. I have so many seeds. I can share all of them with you. I have teak, I have mango, I have jackfruit, I have chiku, what else did she have? Oh yes, she also had this huge tree called the peepal tree, the banyan tree. She said, "I can give you all these trees." The young man said, "No, Bai, I don't want these seeds. These are seeds that grow trees. I want seeds that grow crops. We need to eat. We need to barter. The trees will take so much time to grow." The squirrel was sad. She couldn't help this poor young man. The young man left for home. He decided, "It's high time I go home. My wife will be worried about me, and I don't know what else to do." And he felt really, really disappointed because he was not able to fulfill his wife's wishes. And he loved his wife so much that the thought of causing her this grief was unbearable to him. As he was walking on his path home, a little mouse stopped him on the way. She said, "Listen to me, brother. I couldn't help overhear your conversation and I called out to you from the squirrel's house, but you didn't hear me. What are you looking for? Tell me." So the young man started with his story. "My wife and I have made a clearing in the forest. We need seeds to plant so that we can have our own crops. And no one in this forest or even the gods have seeds. I don't know what to do. The mouse gave him a big smile and said, I have seeds. I have millet. I have maize. I have wheat. I have rice. And I can give you all. Take as much as you need. Do not feel shy. Come with me. So the young man was delighted. He took as many seeds as he needed. And while leaving the mouse's house, he made her a promise. He said, you have given me and my wife a new start, a new life. So when the crops are grown and we are taking our harvest, make sure that you come to take your share. It's a promise from a brother to a sister, from a friend to a friend. Don't feel shy. Do come and claim your share. The young man went home happily and told his wife about his adventures. She thought he was spinning a yarn around her. So she didn't pay much attention to his stories, but she was very happy with the seeds. Both of them got working quickly because it was going to rain at any moment. They planted the seeds, and soon, in some time, they had wonderful crops and a bountiful harvest. They were looking at their harvested crops, and the mouse came to pay a visit. The moment the wife saw the mouse, she was screaming, eek! Ew! Get away from here! Stay away! Don't dirty our crops! The young man looked at the mouse and said, oh, we work hard and you come to steal our grains. The mouse was shocked. She didn't expect this behavior from the young man who promised her as a brother and a friend and a share in the harvest. She couldn't say a word to them at that moment, and she went away. But in the night, when the young man and his wife were having dinner, she came back and said, it's so easy and so typical of a human being to forget what they promise. And it's not I who asked for a promise. It was freely given by you. I'm going away, but remember, next time when you have a harvest, I will come back to claim my share as you promised and what's rightfully mine. She went away and she came back the next time and the time after that. And do you know what the Varlis believe? That when they harvest a crop, before they harvest the crop, the mouse always comes to claim his or her share, because these mice are the descendants of that mouse the Varli young man made a promise to. And isn't it so simple? We get so much abundance as human beings from the universe. And what these animals and birds ask for is so little. So why can't we open our hearts and share with more abandon, just as they share with us, and just as the universe shares with us? And this is what the Varlis believe, that we don't own anything. Everything is given to us to share. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, everyone.
It's a lovely story and a lovely workshop.
Thank you, everyone. Great pleasure. Thank you for joining in.